Hey, how's it going? I have something that I would like to read to you that I didn't prepare before I turned the camera on, but that's okay. It's right here. Just give me a moment. It's a piece I wrote earlier. Appearances above all. Lately I've been thinking of the layers of reality or existence and how we live in the crudest, superficial, topmost one. It came to my attention that, first of all, most of what we understand to be true only is to a degree. Only on a superficial level does the thing you believe to be true all of your life turn out to be as you thought. When you look harder, ask questions, or are asked, and you need to know more, only to find nothing there to be as you were told. That has been happening a lot. Once you see, you can't. Once you see it everywhere. Public policy, business, politics, and personal relationships. Those last ones, ooh! Your whole life, you think you know people, and then there's change, and it's all revealed to have been fake all along. A change, you say? Of what type, you wonder? Well, you never can tell what that'll look like. I'm thinking of those obligations we make. A promise to keep safe and watch over a little one, perhaps. So the agreement is made and carried out over years, but there was always an undercurrent. Thinking of a particular case here, where the responsibility you accepted was done to please the supplicant grudgingly. The grudge part stays mostly hidden for the sake of appearances. No one wants to look like an asshole to the person they do anything for, or anyone else looking on. In the intimate moments, however, that resistance to the obligation grows into resentment and leaks out when it feels safe to relieve the pressure. It's understandable to feel burdened. Doing something someone important to you has asked is important, then, to the doer. Even if the task they agreed to felt burdensome, right from the start. Little by little, the reasons for accepting fall away. People pass, and there's no longer the need. They evidently begin to feel less and less restrained, and in the intimate moments that allow for the truth of how the obligations weighed upon them, and the snide remarks and nasty comments, spicily clad in so-called humor, begin to hit the little one with force, because the little ones don't stay little, and understanding grows within them. Built upon layers over years, all of the snide remarks resolve as disrespect and resentment. Worse for the object of the obligation, who realizes they're being blamed for an agreement they never knew of but later figured it out. The other person didn't. Their perspective didn't have the clarity to drop the fact that the person supposed to be under their care was not the one that asked them to do it. It must be clear at this point, this was a personal account. That's out there now. Once I understood the dynamic after a lifetime observing this person, someone I once had so much love and respect for, had problems of their own that made them act out in what they probably thought were discreet and cleverly undetectable ways. It's a shame that this normally intelligent person couldn't bypass the fact that reality didn't want the obligation. It's a shame that this normally intelligent person couldn't bypass the fact that they really didn't want the obligation for personal reasons that I could suss out, but not them. I got to know later that they had multiple dead zones of perception. Impersonally, let's try that again. In fact, let me take a drink here. Impersonally, we have lots to choose from when it comes to flimsy facades misrepresenting political policies. Business gets caught out all the time, cutting corners. Politics, food, medicine, energy, sales, they all have something to hide, and they all do it for the sake of appearances. Think of all of the years... Oh, shoot, don't do that. Wait, where the heck did they go? Think of all of the years Big Tobacco lied to us and made addicts out of so many of us, hiding the vile, failed truth about their products. Because if the truth were known, it would look bad. It's a shame that this normally... Oh, shoot. Oh, man. This thing... Don't do it again! Turned out not to matter how many lives were lost or families were ruined by tobacco. The companies that sell it and chemically alter it to addict and enslave its users have not been enough to halt the business. Tobacco products are sold in stores still today. A really bad look, but clearly they do not care. Pharmaceutical drugs, same thing. Unhealthy, dangerous treatments have been released to the public, have been released to the sometimes desperate public, who will do whatever it takes to treat a chronic ailment. For the influx of sales generated, the producers of these products will rush out medication that testing has indicated negative side effects for, and therefore proving they need more testing prior to safety being assured for the money. A shallow, in my opinion, reason for proceeding with a plan that they know will be harmful because they feel like where'd it go? They feel like profit can be snatched up before the public realizes the claims were false. That's a really bad look. But for the sake of appearances, until it starts to look bad, they will continue to do it. As long as things look good for the shareholders and the stock price, it's done. Or let me change the intonation on that. As long as things look good for the shareholders and the stock price, it's done. Finally, I have to address the whole Minnesota death situation. Law schma. The death and injury incurring patrols. I'm sorry, people who don't see their activities as violent. They come around and act not in the spirit of the law. The fact that they don't seem to be subject to them, laws, and they're certainly behaving as if they aren't, that completely disqualifies their authority for me. Dang it, stop doing that. This particular app, okay. At some point, the law has to enforce itself, or it's nothing to everyone. Bottom line, everything the federally backed lawless force does that causes casualty or death brands them as crims, awaiting arrest, investigation, conviction, and jail. No, imprisonment. Long terms. We have to start respecting each other and our right to exist without fear of unwarranted attacks upon our persons, because these federal cops only have two settings: angry and striking out at the public, because they are treating taunts like they're slings and arrows. They are not. if you're not a total weakling, in my opinion. So, I'm going to link that in case anyone would like to read it for themselves. I have to re-edit it now. I just touched it and paragraphs got shuffled. That was that was not what I wanted to happen. Okay, so I have 2 cards from the declarations of Mary Magdalene deck. Oh my gosh. The declarations of Mary Magdalene deck. So the first one says, our truth that it... Let me slow down. Our truth is that which dwells in our hearts, not in our heads. So, that just is like the total description of a, like, second-guessing moment. You know how you feel, and you maybe go to react based on the emotion, and then you think better of it because you might get embarrassed or, you know, whatever it is. Or it's just that your mind and probably a large helping of your ego together to protect you, mind you, make you, you know, second guess yourself and then decide to do something else that is not as good as your original intent, you know. And it could be, there could be like much more intense overtones like going on. I feel like I'm just describing something that could, you know, depending on the person and the situation and temperaments, blow up into something really, like, terrible because for whatever reason you didn't go with your first intuition, which came from your heart. We do it all the time if you think about it. And so the next one, okay, so yes, we do it all the time, but maybe when we're also thinking in that second moment, having the second thoughts, have a third thought. Really examine that. Just a recommendation. Okay, and the next one says, our greatest importance is to see the love of God within thyself, all others, and all things. So I feel like that's a really apt thing to say in our current moment, because we've been seeing the representation of 2 sides of our collective personality in the United States clashing. But at the same time, there's a lot of mixed feelings, I feel like, in both sides, you know, that are meeting each other in these emotional clashes for the most part. You know, a lot of times when people get upset and because they have provoked these people, these not officers, agents, and then they react like they're just another person on the street, except they happen to have a badge and a gun. Normally, we are used to law enforcement officers, you know, from like the ground level up to the federal, to behave according to a set of laws and things like that we all can know. And like, we're, as the public, especially in the protesting situations or demonstrations, we're expected to adhere to those laws, like, to the letter, which is not wrong, but it's just not fair when the people across from you who are purported to be there to do certain things and are not doing those things and are doing way worse things, and everyone can see it. And in the aftermath, people can fabricate all kinds of things, but the evidence of hundreds of cameras doesn't lie. And yeah, go ahead, keep yapping that talk, but if you think like you're building confidence between yourselves and the people you're talking to, the public, that would be a mistake, I think, because nobody likes to be lied to, and we've been in these situations a lot where we're lied to a lot, and we know, I don't know about everybody else, but I can guess we're all pretty sick of being lied to. Like, seriously, grow up and tell the truth. Everybody can see that you're not telling the truth, and also what your true motivations are, regardless of what comes out of the various representative mouths. Okay, so in those instances, especially in those clashes on the streets that have gone way south, those are the moments when we should be trying, or not even trying. It's actually, I think, our natural state, and I think that's probably why I'm trying to figure out another way to say it other than try, because that's a whole different energy that would just mess this other one I'm trying to describe all up, I feel. But it's talking about a concept that I don't think many of us understand very well at all, and that is, like, I'll use the example of forgiveness. Like, if someone does something that you are in some way offended by or hurt by or something like that, then and I'm talking like maybe a big offense that most everyone would think is unforgivable, and you find it in yourself to get over whatever anger you might feel about it, and look at the person who, in my scenario, has been apprehended and is incarcerated, and then you have the opportunity to interact with this person in a very controlled way. So if you can find it in yourself to forgive this person that's been incarcerated, and you find it in yourself to help them find it in themselves to, like, come out of the other end of the experience that everyone's having better and improved and never gonna do whatever they did again, rehabilitated. So but what that takes to be able to do that is, it doesn't sound right, but if you can forgive someone for something unforgivable, it has to start with being able to forgive yourself for being angry at them, for not seeing that this person is another person like yourself, and they just have ended up in a place that, while foreign to you, you can maybe understand how certain steps occurred in their life that steered them in a direction, and they may not have the wherewithal as you do to step out of the situation, to step back and say, basically, overall, I got it better off than this person that is suffering, has problems, maybe has mental illness, and the unbelievable thing is, to get there, you have to forgive yourself for being, like, mad at them for taking whatever it is you feel you have lost from you, animal, vegetable, mineral, whatever it is, and find the self, find yourself in them. I mean, however you need to be able to approach them. Like maybe find a corn dog that you love in them and just be able to go, despite everything else, corn dog. Because I love corn dog. So, I know it's a strange example, but, you know, you gotta do what you gotta do because it's not gonna be an easy task. And the other thing about it is, you could, like, find gratitude in a way because everyone involved, you know, is having an experience out of it. So it is a co-creation. And that is something to remember before, like, flying off the handle and getting sucked into, I don't know, like, anger and name-calling and, you know, going overboard with, you know, with the roll. Ouch, good Lord, that hurts. Oh, my goodness. I got my turquoise ring back on. It broke open, and it's like one of those rings you get in the Cracker Jack that's like an open circlet. Like the circlet has a little opening in it, so various sized child fingers can just fit in there. That's what I did with it, and I did file down the edges of the break because they were jagged, and well, they were jagged. That's why it was hurting so much, but I guess I could file that more because that was pretty pinchy. Yeah, my finger just keeps opening up. Look, you can see it's not all the way closed, and it keeps opening up, so I just, like, went to close it together a little bit and caught my skin in there, and you saw what happened. Anyway, that's not important. I have 2 cards from Starseed Oracle deck, and the first one is, come here, you got the love. And here it is with this combination person. I want to go with family unit, maybe someone from extended family, something like that. But in this case, it's representing all of us right now, like the people that I was just talking about clashing in the streets, and the other people doing it other places, online, and etc. And it occurs to me that, especially online, you can see this. There's a whole lot of people that are just all, I'm not doing that. I'm not taking part in it. And I like to go where those people go a lot lately. Like, it is really, social media's, like, if you're not into that stuff, it's kind of a bummer because it's a lot of what there is right now. Thank God, or whatever, thank goodness, don't want to offend people, there is a wide variety of stuff that if you don't see it immediately, if you type it into the search bar, you could very likely find some form of it to distract yourself with, or inform yourself with, or just do anything else but, get sucked into the whole debate. And I'm not meaning to make light of it. I'm not even worried so much about, like, words that I use that might somehow impact me. Like, I don't have huge numbers of views or subs. That's okay. I think it might give me a little leeway to, like, just sort of every once in a while sneak in some forbidden word or concept without being noticed. Works for me. Okay, so you got the love, and I'm going to just read what it says in the book here. The subtitles are Hadarian energy. I looked that up last time. I'm not going to do that again because I think it ends up talking about it in the text that I'm going to go ahead and read. And then the other part of the subtitle is Codependency Boundaries. So for the co-creation, that is some codependency right there, and we are pushing all over each other's boundaries. I think that might be the Hedarian energy right there. Not so much the push and pull of it, but that and the aftermath. Hopefully, like the end goal would be to peaceably, resume relations without the clashing and disagreeing so much. Okay, so what the book says is the Hedarians are believed to be beacons of pure, divine, unconditional love, who see love in all people and situations. We just talked about that. Because I was talking about getting it from within yourself, but we may get there. Let me go on. Where'd it go? As a result, they can find it hard to have boundaried, interdependent, healthy relationships. Excuse me. No. As a result, they can find it hard to have boundaried, interdependent, healthy relationships because they only see the unconditional nature of those they meet. The lovers of the cosmos, they dive in fast. They're here to learn how to love while in a separate body. So, wow, what a time to come learn to love here. Right when people are at their most spiny and thorny and unpleasant. Not all people, though. Remember, you can always get in that search bar and find people talking about completely other things. But, there's a lot of us, and the rest that are not, paying attention to this stuff in such an overt way, because I don't think any of it's escaping anybody. It takes all kinds. You just don't know what people might be doing to affect the same situation you're doing in the same way that you are by doing your protest song or art or whatever it is. Okay, where did I leave off? Oh yeah, the separate body. To learn to love self first, then establish healthy relationships with others. Completely other deck, right? Where I was talking about the greatest importance is to see the love of God within thyself, all others, and all things. So, yeah, it starts with yourself, then the others, and everything else in existence. In sync. My chime is buried in crap. Never mind. I'll have to take that out and actually play it. Where was I? To remember that they came here to remember that the love they seek is already within them. That they truly do have the love all on their own. And that always so makes me think of the twin flame thing, because the lore, which I guess is all wrong, is that you're searching for the other half of yourself. And I suppose that's true, but that could also be true of someone that you're just a soulmate with as a platonic friend, or a brother that you're close with, or a boss that you particularly get along well with. And so, it's not limited to romance. Okay, so the last one I read was that they truly do have the love all on their own. So within yourself, this the airplane oxygen mask thing. Like breathe first so you can render aid to like the little one next to you or the infirm person, older person, like whatever it is, you know, when you have to be like the brains in the situation or the one that's keeping their head, you got to see to you first, and then you can deal with everything else. That's like a repeating thing in life. It's not just the example I gave. The message of this card is to review the way you may need to establish healthier boundaries. Perhaps you're in a codependent relationship in which you may be losing your sense of self. So, like I was talking about this in the last video I did, and I just really think that, like, along with boundaries, it's probably a good idea, even if you're not on the front lines of this thing, just with the tensions in the air, it might be a good idea to keep an emotional, physical, mental distance from people. Respect the boundaries, like, greatly. I think it would be appreciated, too. You know, people want you to come closer, they can always say, right? The message of this card, did I already do that? The message of this card is to review the ways you may need to establish healthier boundaries. Perhaps you're in a codependent relationship in which you may be losing your sense of self. It's common for starseeds to dive deep into relationships, particularly with those who feel safe and familiar at the soul level. I'll let you know when I meet one. Perhaps you're in a relationship in which you give more than you receive, or perhaps there's a certain volatility to it, and you're always unsure where you stand. This card is assigned to do a relationship review and see what energetic agreements you've made, consciously or unconsciously. I don't know if everybody's ready to figure out how to do that or what they're looking for, the whole thing. I hope you're a good researcher if you don't know. To acknowledge if there are relationships in which you feel anxious or powerless, in which you don't feel like it's safe to relax and just be you. To assess if there are any places of inadequacy that you've used a relationship to soothe and cover up. You mean bury and skip over and compartmentalize and, yeah, I'll come back for you later. Starseed Soul Inquiry. Do you lose yourself in relationships? If so, how? How can you develop a deeper love for yourself? I can't speak for you. Speaking for myself, I need to just stop being giving. Not being so giving, just giving it all, because I have two speeds, on and off. I gotta work on that mid setting, I guess. Okay, so there's a second and final one of these cards, and it is Starkeeper. This card, like, I have a sense of motion looking at it. Like, you pass through that doorway, and at the same time, you're passing through something, like the figure that the lowest doorway that you're actually going to step through is, like, a part of, is itself surrounded by yet another doorway. So I got this sense of motion of, like, go through one doorway and then you're going through all these other doorways. So, like, I don't know, portal intersection? Okay, so here, Starkeeper. They kind of look like they're in a big blue crystal or something, too. Look at the foreground. Oh, it's not really in there. Well, in the card... Wow, you know, this looks so different to my naked eye and looking at it on this screen, because I fully thought there was a figure walking through there. Like, there seems to be just the slightest darkness there in the middle, like someone that's walked through, like, way down there. And then there's like these white orbs that are all over the place in these pictures, like around the people. And I've seen them in the cards as like various kinds of bubbles, but I also was aware of the idea of them being orbs, because orbs, when you see them, they tend to like be curious and come around the people. And I don't know if you've seen the ghost shows, but the orb is just this is what a psychic medium has said, the orb is just the easiest way for them to manifest for like the spirits. It's an aerodynamic shape. I didn't know you needed that for that type of visitation, but you learn every day. Okay, let me read what the book says about Starkeeper. The subtitles are Cosmic Ancestor, see the light by staying grounded. So this is something that, you know, I think about, like, what is your contribution at this time? Because before all of this started happening, probably like, gosh, maybe 5-10 years before this all started really happening the way it is right now, I was asking myself, and now it's not like such a mystery that I was asking myself that. I was like forecasting it, I didn't even realize it. But what I was asking myself was, if you would have been around in the 60s when the civil rights movement was being, hammered out, what would you have done? Like, what role would you have played? And I never was real sure, but I know that I didn't then and don't want to now put myself in front of any violence, but now's not the time to be, you know, hiding away. Really, like, there's nothing happening in my particular local area, but I understand they've landed up north, which means they could be anywhere at any time. So now I'm kind of hyper aware of their presence, but I mean, that's really all I got to give, because regardless of what happens, if I should come face to face with them, whatever happens, happens. It's all part of the co-creation and part of a greater play of events that I don't know the ultimate end of. I mean, I have an idea of what we're looking to accomplish out of going through this time, these turbulent times, and that is to come through the other end better for each other and the world, and attitude, like, just kind of better all the way around. Okay, where did I start reading yet, even? Okay, so, yeah, I'm wondering, like, now, like, I didn't really have an answer to my question before. Like, I just hoped I would step up. Like, that is what you do. You take part in these things that are big and important, that involve all these other people, not just yourself, because it's important. What's important to them is important to you. May not look the same, but that's life, you know, like, it's gonna play out how it plays out. And so this is a time to, like, test your own mettle and decide, like, you know, what am I good for? Can I stand up for this? Like, because this is not for somebody else. This is as much for me as it is for someone else. And so, one of the things that I do know that helps, because it was something that helped before everything got all kooky the way it is now, and that was to try and maintain a presence, but in the here and now, like, not kind of, like I've been trying to not get sucked into all of the emotion and anger of the moment. So part of helping with that is to not get sucked in, and while you're doing that, stay a calm and even presence. So that's what you're emanating from all around you, and that's influential. Like, fear is contagious, but so is, like, calm and comfort. Then I think we're more used to the other kind of, but we don't have to expect it. It's not all there is. So that's, part of what I consciously do all the time. And, well, I don't know if it's in here, but when you calm yourself, it does make a difference. And then that too, in like very subtle ways, is influential and ripples outward, and it acts as a deterrent to like anxiety. And when you're fearful, you really can't think very clearly. You can't think straight that well, and so you don't make sound decisions. And if you can't keep calm when things are all going crazy, then you need to have like someone around you that does. And even if they're not right next to you, if there's several someones collectively doing that, that creates, well, the energy gets added upon, gets built upon, so it multiplies, is amplified. So, yeah, that's one thing I do. And anyone could do that. Like, that's why I'm constantly, like, bringing up meditating on social media, because there's a lot of people on there that could really, like, please go meditate for 10 minutes. I would enjoy you having a break. And again, collectively meditating there, you can look it up. You can throw it in the search bar and ask the benefits of group meditation. And there have been experiments that have proved that crime rates go down, excitability levels go down, and that I'm sure they can measure by, like, what are police stations and hospitals doing in that same time, and whatever metrics they're using to figure that out. But it's not just me, like, talking fluffy out of my neck. It's a real thing that happens, and it works. And so it's something you can do anywhere. It's free. If you have, like, even 5 minutes is something. If you can drop out of the normal sort of hectic party line, the old phone technology thing where, like, one neighborhood would be tied to an operator and a switchboard, which you have to look up switchboard. I'm not going to explain the whole thing, but, in a small area, one or more people meditating at the same time will create a counter to the agitated energy for people to feel better in, like, also be like, yeah, that's relaxing and good, and maybe actually fall into doing it themselves. So, I mean, in my opinion, that's good. We have a lot of all of the other stuff. Let's try to blend in some of the calm. Okay, you're an engine keeper of the stars, here to anchor and seed your light in your unique way. You've likely been incarnating on Earth for some time, dedicated to an era of awakening and bringing about a long-awaited shift in the planet's evolution. We're at a tipping point now. The survival of Earth and all of its species is coming to a head. The more grounded you remain during this transitional period, the more helpful you'll be. The more you tend to the flames of your own heart, the more love you'll anchor into the planet, into this planet. The wisdom of the stars is imprinted in your soul. The more soul fragments you call home, the more this wisdom is seated here. So you tuned in, and then other people that are aligned to your attunement will tune in with you and join you. Like, I'm just saying, like, they have felt the calm. They felt the calm of the force out there, and they're like, yes, I want that. I want to join you. The wisdom of the stars is imprinted in your soul. The more soul fragments you call home, the more this wisdom is seated here. You may be called to be in different places in the world to anchor this light. Perhaps by taking a trip or living in a certain location, you may also find yourself experiencing awakening symptoms. The more grounded you remain, the more stable Earth's energy will become, and the less reactive humanity will be. You're here for a double mission: to grow as an individual and as a part of a larger collective that's bringing about a shift in frequency. Trust that you can be in the world but not of it, and lead a truly glorious life. Being in the world but not of it. So yeah, we're here, and there's like the hectic part that you can participate in, and when that becomes a bit much, you can search for and find other more inviting environments. Okay, you're here. Oh, I read that. Oh, I read it all. Okay, so Starseed activation. Place the card on the portal of your heart. The card with all the portals? Okay, placing it on my heart. And whisper the following. I acknowledge. I'm going to whisper as loud as I can. I acknowledge. Come on. In a second. I acknowledge that I'm a star keeper. I choose to anchor my light and stay as grounded as possible. And I'm glad they ended it like that, because I am not perfect at that. I am a work in progress at staying as grounded as possible, but I am determined. As soon as I feel myself falling out of it, I wrench my way back to calm. Okay, how'd that big stove get there? Okay, I think I covered everything. Thank you and good night.